All right, let's get right into it. If you've spent any time with Claude Code, you know how this goes. One minute, it feels like actual magic, and the next, it's a completely confusing mess. Well, today, we are going to fix that. We're going way beyond the basics to show you how the pros get those consistent, amazing results every single time. Think of this as your masterclass on turning that frustration into pure creative flow. And, this quote from AI streamer Ray Fernando just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? You've got this unbelievably powerful tool right at your fingertips, but actually getting it to work productively, time and time again, that's the real challenge. It's so easy to blame the tool when things go wrong, but here's the secret. The magic isn't in the AI. It's all about how you manage it. So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the power and the problem, why Claude can feel so unpredictable. Then we'll build your pro-level foundation. After that, we are going to master the single most important skill, the context window. From there, we'll unlock the pro toolkit and finally shift your entire mindset from just a prompter to a manager. Sound good? Let's go. Okay, first things first. Let's talk about that feeling. If you've ever felt like your AI coding partner just has a mind of its own, well, you are not alone, and believe me, there's a really good reason for it. This is it. This is the big question that really separates the casual users from the pros. You give it a task, and it's perfect. An hour later, you give it something similar, and the results are, well, they're all over the place. So what is going on? It feels totally random, but I promise you, it is anything but. And here's the key takeaway. That inconsistency, it's not a flaw in Claude. It's a skill gap. And that is fantastic news, because you can learn skills. The pros have just figured out a system for managing the tool, and that is exactly what we're going to unpack today.
All right, let's get practical. Before you can even think about doing complex stuff, you need a solid foundation. These are the quick, high-impact setup steps that pros use to make their entire workflow faster, smarter, and just better. What's so great about these is how simple they are. An alias like C for Claude means you're in the zone instantly. Keyboard replacements save you from typing out long commands over and over again. And that dangerously skip permissions flag, pro user Eric Buss calls it YOLO mode. It gets rid of all those constant permission pop-ups. But be smart about it. Only use it in a safe, sandboxed environment where you know what you're doing. But honestly, the most important step on that list is installing the docs locally. Think about it this way. You're giving Claude the tool to learn the tool. Instead of it having to go out and slowly search the web for info about its own commands, it can just access it instantly, right on your machine. This is how you unlock smarter questions like, hey, what's new? Or how can I use a subagent to solve this problem? It's a total game changer. Okay, now we're getting to the absolute core of using any large language model for coding. Seriously, if you only remember one thing from this whole explainer, make it this. Your ability to manage the context window is everything. You know how it is. It all starts out so perfectly, right? You open a new session, you've got this big, beautiful, fresh 200,000 token context window. You give it a clear, simple instruction, the slate is clean. And then Claude gets to work. It starts thinking, pulling in files from your codebase, making plans, calling tools. All of this is super useful stuff, but it's also filling up that precious context window with thousands and thousands of tokens of information. And this is where it all goes wrong. After a few back and forths, that window is so crammed full of old code and previous conversations that your new request just gets lost in all the noise. The model gets confused, its performance tanks. This is what we call context rot, and it's the #1 reason your code quality can suddenly fall off a cliff. Now, one of the biggest causes of context rot is just misusing the thinking modes. A lot of us just default to ultra think for everything. But look at that. That mode can burn through 32,000 tokens in a single go. That's a huge slice of your context. The key is to be strategic. You use ultra think when you need a bazooka for one really tough specific problem. For most everything else, a mode like think hard is way more efficient and, more importantly, it protects your context. So, how do we fight back against context rot? With sub-agents. This is the pro-level move right here. Instead of trying to solve one giant problem in a single messy conversation, you start acting like a manager. You spin up a new temporary version of Claude, a sub-agent, with its own clean 200K token context. You give it one specific job to do. It does the work, reports back, and then its context just disappears, leaving your main conversation clean and focused. Brilliant.
So once you get the hang of managing context, you can start using some of Claude's more advanced automation tools. And this is where things get really fun, because these are the features that give it superpowers and let you build truly powerful systems. Now, hooks and slash commands might seem kind of similar, but how they affect your context is completely different, and that's the whole point. A slash command happens inside the conversation. Claude knows about it, which means it takes up valuable space in your context window. A hook, on the other hand, runs totally outside of Claude's awareness. It gets triggered by something, but it doesn't pollute the context at all. This makes hooks absolutely perfect for background tasks you want to automate without distracting your agent. MCP servers are another huge unlock. Just think of them as plugins that connect Claude to live external information. You know how an AI's training data has a cutoff date, right? So it might not know about the latest version of a library. Well, an MCP server, like the one for ShadCN, gives Claude real-time access to the newest components and docs. That way, you know the code it's writing for you is always modern and correct. We've talked a lot about tools, but now let's talk about the most important part of all, the mindset. Because getting those consistent professional results isn't just about what you type, it's about how you think about your role in this whole process. This quote from Eric Biasa says it all. You have to understand that the model is an incredibly powerful tool, but it's also, eager to please. It might tell you a task is totally done when it only got partway through or ran into an error. So the professional mindset is always trust, but verify. Never, ever just take its word for it. So how do you verify? You build a system for it, like this. Your main agent builds the feature and also creates a test plan. But, and this is the critical step, it doesn't run the test itself. It delegates that job to a totally separate, blind validator subagent. This validator runs the tests without any bias, without any knowledge of how the code was written. It just reports back a simple pass or fail. This closes the loop and proves the code actually does what it's supposed to do. And this really is the ultimate mindset shift. You're not just giving instructions anymore. You are an architect. You're a project manager. Your real job is to design the plan, delegate the tasks to these incredibly smart agents, and most importantly, create rock-solid systems of validation to guarantee the quality of the final product. Phew! We have covered a ton of ground, from simple terminal tricks all the way to complex validation systems. So let's boil it all down into a clear, actionable path that you can start on, like right now. Here it is. Your checklist for mastery. First, get your foundation right. It's the fastest way to see big improvements. Second, become obsessed with protecting your context window. As Ray Fernando says, guard it like it's your firstborn child. Third, use sub-agents to break down every problem. Fourth, verify everything. Don't trust, test. And finally, use the tool to learn the tool. With those local docs installed, you can literally just ask Claude, how can I do this better? It will teach you. So there you have it. You now have the foundational knowledge and, more importantly, the professional mindset to go from being a casual user to a true power user of Claude Code. You have the keys to unlock a level of productivity and creativity that was, frankly, impossible just a little while ago. The only question left is, what are you going to build with it?